Now on CoastTV News.
Taxpayer attention, we look at the potential relief for Delaware's property owners and why some in the General Assembly think not enough has been done on Tuesday's special session. Cannabis crackdown that is under consideration in Greenwood, but the town is reviewing it in ordinance.
This is CoastTV News Midday.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Elisa Weber and welcome to Coast TV News Midday. Governor Meyer has signed a series of bipartisan bills aimed at easing the burden following the state's first property reassessment in decades, this after the special session on Tuesday. According to Governor Meyer, the legislation creates fair tax rates, gives homeowners flexible payment plans, and even provides refunds to people who overpaid. Lawmakers say the changes will also keep school funding intact. However, at a press conference, Republican leaders expressed concern over what they call a rushed process, with rules suspended to introduce and vote on bills in the same day. And prior to the start of the special session, Democratic Representative Alana Berry was sworn in, giving District 20 a voice in Legislative Hall for the first time this year. In a speech to the House chamber, Berry said she's excited to hit the ground running as her first day coincides with a special session. She named education and public safety as her top priorities.
Grateful for the district trusting me to sit in this seat and be their voice. I'm most looking forward to getting to know folks in my district, to being as visible and as present as I can be, and to being here in Dover and voting on things that matter to my constituents.
Berry won the District 20 special election just last week. The seat was previously held by Stell Parker Selby, who first took office in 2023, but after winning re-election in 2024, Parker Selby missed every single day of the legislative session due to health reasons and resigned from her seat in June. Happening today in Delaware, Governor Meyer is set to sign legislation moving the Department of Veterans Affairs closer to operation. The legislation creating the department is approved by both chambers of the General Assembly. Lawmakers say 70,000 veterans in Delaware will have their issues represented in this new department, which is a cabinet secretary level office. Governor Meyer is scheduled to sign House Bill 1 this morning. We are now taking a live look outside at Rehoboth Beach, and our first alert meteorologist Bob Trahey is going to be joining us. Bob, I know those people on the boardwalk are enjoying that sunshine, but I hope they have sunscreen on.
I hope so too, Elisa. Yeah, they're going to need the sunscreen for sure. We had the dense fog this morning. That lifted, and now we're seeing some clouds increasing across western Sussex County and the eastern shore. It is warm and muggy out there right now. Even seeing a few showers near the I-95 corridor back into Virginia. So we could see some of that activity moving over us as we go into the afternoon. There's a stronger cold front off to the north and west. That'll move in tomorrow and keep that threat for storms going. Right now it's warm, mid-80s from Gumboro to Millsboro, and 84 in Dagsboro, 87 in Seaford, 85 in Redden. We've got 70s and low 80s at the beaches, and those dew points, boy, it's tough out there. Mid to upper 70s, tropical-like air, with feels like temperatures already into the low to mid 90s. There's a bit of a breeze, a little bit of a sea breeze at the coast. That'll keep you a little cooler. Here's noon on Futurecast, 70s and 80s there, but inland areas, mid to upper 80s, and with the heat and humidity, that could spark a few showers and storms this afternoon, but a high around 90 in some inland spots with 80s at the coast. And this evening, lots of clouds and still a chance of some scattered showers and storms. Feels like temperatures this afternoon into the mid 90s away from the coast, feeling like 80s at the beaches. So the summer heat and humidity is back. A stray storm possible later today and this evening, and then again tomorrow, but drying out Friday into the weekend. I'll have your full forecast coming up a little bit later in the newscast.
1 year ago today, Thomas Berry III lost his life at the age of 23 while responding to a car accident. While off duty, Berry was struck and killed when a utility pole snapped, bringing down live wires. Berry was a fourth-generation firefighter with the Georgetown Fire Company and the Ellendale Volunteer Fire Department. He was also a member of Sussex County EMS. A high crash location could possibly be getting a roundabout to ease congestion and improve safety. The roundabout is aimed to be constructed at the intersection of Gravel Hill Road and Sand Hill Road. Happening today, DelDOT representatives are hosting a workshop from 4 to 7 p.m. at Milton Elementary School. If you can't make it in person, officials say they will be accepting digital comments through September 19th. Also happening today, housing rules are up for discussion in Lewis. This is at the Planning Commission meeting where members are expected to consider recommending changes to the mayor and city council on accessory dwelling units. The rule deciding whether or not homeowners are required to live in one of the units is at the center of the review. Officials say this comes after it was discovered that several properties with existing ADUs are being used entirely as short-term rentals. That is considered to be non-compliant. The meeting will take place at 6 o'clock at the Rollins Center. A push to ban marijuana in Greenwood. Town officials will hold a first reading of an ordinance on regulating the drug. The council says it wants to ban both businesses that sell and manufacture marijuana. After the first reading, people will have a chance to provide input on the proposal, which will need a second reading before it can be finalized. The Greenwood Town Council meeting will take place tonight at 6:30. And marijuana restrictions are no stranger to Sussex County. Dewey Beach, Fenwick Island, South Bethany, Bethany Beach, Milton, and Rehoboth Beach have banned retail marijuana completely. Lewis has been considering regulations to allow it. Dagsboro voted to ban the sale and production of marijuana. And Georgetown's Town Council has now approved an ordinance that will allow for retail marijuana sales, cultivation, and testing, though it will be heavily regulated. President Trump is expected to meet virtually today with European leaders ahead of his face-to-face with Russian President Putin. U.S. allies want to say in any possible outcome that leads to peace in Ukraine, and so does Ukrainian leader Zelensky. NBC's Alice Barr shows us that and why the White House is defending the president's move to take over the nation's capital.
A new sight for tourists at some of Washington, D.C.'s most visited landmarks as hundreds of National Guard troops began deployments in the nation's capital overnight, joining D.C. police now under federal control for 30 days on orders from President Trump, who declared a public safety emergency.
We are removing as many criminals from the streets and we are cleaning up D.C. as best as we can.
The White House touting 23 arrests Monday night by federal agents from homicide to guns and drugs, also promising to remove homeless encampments and move people to shelters for services or to jail if they refuse.
These are pre-existing laws that are already on the books. They have not been enforced.
Protesters and critics in Congress slamming what they call a manufactured crisis and presidential overreach.
He's taking away checks and balances.
City leaders pointing to dropping violent crime stats over the past 2 years. The mayor meeting with the attorney general, promising to make the most of the surge in federal resources while criticizing what she called an authoritarian push.
We all need to do what we can in our space, in our lane, to protect our city and to protect our autonomy.
It all comes as the Trump administration is also focused overseas, preparing for Friday's summit in Alaska between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, which the White House now calls a listening session, confirming Ukrainian President Zelensky will not join, though he is speaking by phone today with President Trump and European allies pushing for Ukraine to have a voice in ending the Russian assault. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Coming up after the break, more flights for Delaware, how one airline is bringing more options for people traveling to tropical destinations. The Powerball jackpot has grown to $526 million. No one matched all 6 numbers in Monday's drawing. The new jackpot has a one-time cash payout of $241 million. The next drawing is today. Avelo Airlines is expanding service out of the Wilmington airport, adding more flights to Orlando and bringing back nonstop service to San Juan this fall. Starting October 1st, flights to Orlando will double to 4 times a week, and Avelo's seasonal nonstop route to San Juan will return with extra flights around the holidays. And coming up tonight on DSN at 7, it's high school football as Cape Henlopen takes on Lake Forest. Then you can catch the final score at 10:30.
Here's a live look into Laurel right now. We're increasing the clouds in Sussex County, 85 degrees. It is very muggy to hot this afternoon with upper 80s as the very warm and muggy weather has returned. It continues for a couple more days with a chance of showers and thunderstorms through Thursday, then drying out into the weekend. Congratulations to Kevin Buchanan from Ocean City, Maryland. He is the new winner of an umbrella from Paul Davis and Coast TV. More on the warmth and humidity in your weekend forecast coming up next. The summer heat and humidity is back across Delmarva. It's the middle of August. It's the dog days of summer, and it's feeling like it out there right now. We've got some cirrus clouds, some cumulus clouds. Up in Tulare Razor Cam and Lewis right now, 88 degrees, but look at that dew point, 79. That air is thick. It's tropical-like, and we'll be looking at temperatures in the mid to upper 80s this afternoon as we're looking at that heat continuing as high pressure is sliding offshore, kind of like a Bermuda high setup. We've got a southwesterly flow with very warm and humid conditions, almost tropical as we go through today into tomorrow. And temperatures now already in the mid 80s, Georgetown 84, 85 in Redden and Milton, 84 in Gumboro, cooler 79 from Ocean City up to Rehoboth and Salisbury right now 84. But the dew points, when they're in the mid to upper 70s, that is that air you can wear, that tropical like air. And then that's boosting up the feels like temperature now into the mid 90s in Laurel and Millsboro. Feels like 97 in Milton and 80s at the beaches. So make sure you take care this afternoon and stay hydrated as we have a southwesterly breeze, a bit more of a sea breeze along the coast. That will keep you a little cooler. We're seeing some cumulus clouds on the visible satellite picture. Also some thicker clouds building into Sussex County, even across the eastern shore. So it looks like it becomes mostly cloudy this afternoon as we're seeing some showers along the I-95 corridor in D.C. back through Baltimore and into western parts of Virginia as well. And those showers extend from Pennsylvania down across the Piedmont and North Carolina. There is a cold front back to our north and west, and that will be sliding through as we go through tomorrow. And behind it, we're looking at some drier air building in Friday into the weekend. Nothing dry about our air today. Upper 80s and lower 90s at 1 p.m. on Futurecast. 70s and 80s at the coast. And this afternoon, we could see a spotty shower. Otherwise, warm to hot. Upper 80s to close to 90 with 70s and 80s at the beaches. For this evening, lots of clouds and temperatures still very muggy and warm overnight with temperatures into the 80s and then maybe a few showers possible overnight. And then Thursday morning, maybe more fog again with temperatures into the 70s and then another warm day on Thursday with the potential for a few showers and storms, not looking at anything widespread or severe. Very humid, I think, right through Friday, and then the humidity levels do drop a bit as we go into the weekend. Feels like temperatures this afternoon into the mid 90s, and then Thursday more of the same, mid 90s. A little cooler at the beaches, not as bad on Friday as we're seeing some drier air building in. Here's Tropical Storm Erin kind of struggling in the Atlantic. It's dealing with dry air and Saharan dust, but I think in the next 24 to 48 hours, the environment will become more favorable to developing a hurricane on Friday and then a major hurricane north of Puerto Rico as we head into Monday. Right now, all the models, the spaghetti plots, taking it off the East Coast. So for us, no landfall, just looking at wave action and rip currents as we head into next week. 89 in Harrington today, 87 in Georgetown, Cambridge and Vienna at 87 degrees, with Princess Anne and Pocomoke City at 85, 84 in Ocean City. Paul, they have a 7-day forecast. A few of those storms the next couple of days. Near 90, a slightly drier, slightly cooler Friday, 86, then 85 Saturday, upper 80s on Sunday, mid 80s to start next week, and a few storms by Tuesday.
Thank you, Bob. And here's a look at what's coming up this afternoon on Coast Like That 4.
Halfway through the week, hope you're hanging in there, but a little bit of coast life might make that a little bit easier for you. Let's see what's coming up today on the show. We know that our friends at the Food Bank of Delaware are always taking care of the community, but we are taking a trip to check out their Milford facility.
Plus, we're going to have a little bit of fun talking about Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. Big announcements coming today, but we're going to look back at some of the funnier things that have happened between the two of them.
And we're also going to be checking in with our friends at the Rehoboth Beach Patrol and how they celebrated becoming a historical landmark. All that fun and more is coming up today at 4 on Coast Life. We'll see you then.
There's another water advisory at the Delaware beaches, this time in Bethany Beach. According to DENREC, fecal indicator bacteria is above the standard in Bethany. Officials say people with weakened immune systems could become sick from the water. The advisory is expected to be lifted when those bacteria levels go back to normal. This is one of several swimming advisories put in place at Delaware beaches in recent weeks. A message from the Meyer Institute officials are asking you to keep an eye out for a sea turtle near the Ocean City Inlet. Meyer says the animal appears to be hooked or entangled. If spotted, do not try to free it yourself. Instead, call the National Aquarium Animal Rescue. Coming up, solutions to support growth. We'll tell you about the ideas discussed by the Sussex County Preservation Coalition. The Sussex Preservation Coalition held a public discussion to consider recommendations for Sussex County. Some of those recommendations include establishing growth conservation areas, also changing the Sussex County rental program. Coalition President Jill Hicks says public feedback shapes these suggestions.
There is a real public concern about how development has far outpaced infrastructure. There is obviously a concern about safety, living in what we would call a livable Sussex.
These recommendations are looking to update the county code and the comprehensive land use plan.
See very warm conditions out there. Ocean View 82, some high wispy clouds and warming into the mid 80s this afternoon. More warmth and humidity the next couple of days and feels like temperatures in the mid 90s. Call the Coast TV First Alert weather phone for your latest forecast. Sponsored by Brockstead Mandalis Federico. Your 10-day forecast is coming up next. Summer warmth and humidity this afternoon. Make sure you have the sunscreen. Mid to upper 80s, feeling like mid 90s away from the coast. Maybe a stray shower or thunderstorm this afternoon into this evening. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. 89 Thursday with a shower or a thunderstorm. And then drying out a little cooler Friday, 86. And then this weekend looking good. Mid 80s Saturday, upper 80s on Sunday. Cooling down next week, upper 70s Wednesday and Thursday as we're watching off the coast for Aaron right now. Large waves and rip currents from that storm.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Midday. And for more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Don't forget to join us for Coast TV News at 5 later this afternoon. Have a great day.